told, so to speak, the abductions in Kaduna State appear to take prominence. We're looking at Daily Trust newspaper now. The lead story is captioned 86 abducted in fresh Kaduna attack, 73 cattle rustled in Plateau State. It's also cataloging the bemoaning of Southwest farmers who say that bandits are taking over their farmlands, and in the meantime, the defense chief alleges plot to cause mayhem. Meanwhile, the military is quoted as saying no reprisal attack over troops killings in Delta State. Other news on the front page of Daily Trust reads, Ayoku Adebanjo, former governor's call for new constitution. Undersea cable caught, business owners count losses, services restored. SANU NASU ground activities at universities as NLC to join action. Let's look at the leadership newspaper. Bandits sustain attacks on Kaduna, abduct another 86. Outlaws raided Kajuru Sunday night, and 10 days after, terrorists yet to contact families of 287 students as defense chief visits Kaduna. Governor saying school children will return safely. In the meantime, the faces and names of the soldiers killed in the Okoma ambush in Delta State are also splashed on the front page of leadership, putting names to the faces. So, of course, it's not just like 16 people dead. These are the gallant soldiers who fell in the line of duty. Soldiers killers will not escape justice, defense ministers vow. Another story here, perform or be sacked, Wike tells FCTA permanent secretaries. Next is Blueprint. Insecurity in Kaduna State with 86 in fresh attack, 466 kidnapped in 19 days. That's according to an investigation. Now, expert lists non-prosecution of culprits, poor topography, others as reasons for invasions, and army accuses Okwama community of propaganda. Other stories now, how 28 MDAs illegally withdrew 13.95 trillion naira. That's from an audit report. Environment Ministry tops, while the Auditor General of the Federation blames weak internal control system. Once again, Blueprint is also lauding the virtues of our fallen heroes, talking about the 16 soldiers, rest in peace. We also join in saying to these gallant soldiers. Now, 12.7 billion naira released for provision of meters in military barracks. You failed the people. This is an interesting one. You have failed the people. Labour Party chides its own representatives, its own members who are in the House of Representatives. Now, Senate backs Tinubu's charge to military over killing of officers and soldiers. There's a report from AU, Gaza now world's biggest open-air graveyard. New Telegraph says, fear, tension as bandits kidnap 87, loot shops in fresh attack 48 hours after abducting 14 residents as Kajuru Chicken local government areas become hotbeds of kidnappings. CBN in the news now, on ease as SAC directors refuse to sign retirement letters. Adopt 2014 confab report, Ayoku tells federal government, says 99 constitution lacks legitimacy. Nigeria, pluralistic country struggling to become a nation. Defense ministers say killers of 17 officers, soldiers must face justice. And court dismisses Kanu lawyers' appeal against police and the DSS. The Matrix is next. Worsening insecurity. Peter Obi laments, says Nigeria now ranked among riskiest countries to live as more than 7,000 are kidnapped in 1 year. Anxiety as gunmen abduct 87 in Kajuru. All right, this is continuing to reverberate across the country, this latest attack. Court orders Binance to share data with EFCC amid allegations of terrorism, financing, and this issue of the constitution review exercise, getting the People's Constitution tops agenda as patriots hold national dialogue. The Punch says Army Delta community differ over reprisal as troops arrest 20. Army accuses community of complicity. DHQ releases photos, names of fallen soldiers. Delta governor visits Okwama, meets with JTF commander as Rep urges restraint. IYC, the Ijaw Youth Council, condemns the attack. 2,814 schools registered for NSCDC security arrangement, says a commander. Dollar supply rises to $11 billion. Naira closes at 1,572 to the dollar. We look at silent times now. Defense headquarters releases names of military personnel killed in Delta. Of course, this is also on the news. 2 injured as suicide bomber detonates IED near mosque in Borno. In Ogun State, several injured as transport unions engage in bloody clash. CBN to sack 19 directors. Abuja SS1 students stabbed to death during dispute with co-tenant. On the front page of The Guardian, bloodbath in Delta, villagers flee, hide in forests. Terrorists kidnap 87 in fresh attack. Nigeria is doomed without new constitution. These and more stories on the Vanguard. Finally, with me is Platform Times. 11 residents dead in what's been called reprisal attacks as soldiers torch homes in Bayelsa State. Another story here, NAPTIP drags Abuja doctors to court for alleged organ harvesting. 5 sentenced to death for murdering Rivers Vigilante commander as federal government allocate 12.7 billion naira for meter installation in army barracks. Theophilus.
Of course, from our end, we'll start with this Nigeria. Gunmen strike again in Kaduna village, abduct 87. Broke into shops during Kajuru attack, loots foodstuffs. Defense chief visits Governor Sani, says they'll soon be rescued. Wike warns against incompetence, disloyalty. Inaugurates FCT Civil Service Commission. Edo Guba, Tinubu predicts victory for APC, presents party's flag to Senator Okwebolo. Sano Nasu strike disrupt exams activities in public universities. Minister faults unions for contravening Trade Dispute Act. Let's move now to Nigerian News Direct. Unpaid salary, Osun, Kwara, Ondo, other varsities comply as Sano Nasu continues 7-day warning strike. No government rep has reached out to the non-academic union, says Sano president. FUD issues 1-week ultimatum for payment, threatens prolonged strike. NLC stands in solidarity with joint union, presses for timely salary settlements. Edo 2024, Tinubu Ganduje broke a peace with Idahosa, present a party flag to Senator Okwebolo. CSR, Fidelity Banks feed over 3,000 families in Zamfara State. Data voice services now restored, says NCC Main 1. That's in Nigerian News Direct this morning. Let's move to First News. The hashtag there, Free Segun Now. Family members of abducted journalist Segun Olatunji write SOS letter to Tinubu, plead with president to order military to release him, plans peaceful protest to military headquarters in Abuja. Nigeria doomed without new constitution. Anyoku Adebanjo, others warn, call for adoption of 2014 confab recommendations. Delta, alleged army shooting leaves 50 villagers dead. Army denies accusations. U.S. denounces Russia's incredible undemocratic elections. Governor Sule to Peter Obi supports Tinubu to succeed. That's in First News this morning. The Nation newspaper says Ondo APC members advance support for Jimoh Ibrahim, Princess Oladuneodu, Yele Omogunwa, Oleye Logun, Tayo Alashodora say whether direct or indirect, Ibrahim will win. Army to Delta State, the Delta community identify killers, the slain 17 unveiled. 86 abducted in Kaduna. Edo 2024, Okwebolo Idahosa gets Tinubu back in. Olubadan, Fidel from Mapo, and that's in the Nation newspaper this morning. Daily Independent, Ayoku, Ibori, Sanwo-Olu, others seek new constitution. Nigeria can't survive presidential system, says Aregbesola. Ozekome urges new constitution through popular referendum. Panic as CBN sacks 5 directors in fresh reorganization. Delta killings. Senate backs Tinubu on directive to fish out killers of soldiers. How soldiers were killed in Delta community, says retired general. Voice data services affected by undersea cable cuts restored, says NCC. That's in the Daily Independent this morning. We move to the Guardian. Low middle class defer home ownership plans for food. That's the attendant effect of inflation and rising construction costs. Courts convict 5 for murder, kidnapping in Rivers State. Settle Nasu Sanu members urgently, NLC tells government. Looting depicts misrule, misery, and decadence in society. Tinubu meets Edo APC chief over state crisis. Sanwo-Olu, ex-governors, others call for new constitution. That's in the Guardian newspaper this morning. Business AM says stronger dollar prolongs recovery for emerging markets currencies. Nigeria's naira in pit for much longer. Analysts want insurance on the table in minimum wage negotiations. That's the Business AM this morning. We move now to sports. Sporting Life says battle against Ghana, Mali, Napoli to stop Osimhen. Need Nigeria to play against Atalanta VC. African Wrestling Championships. Nigeria wrestlers clinch 4 gold medals. Eboyi out of Ghana, Mali friendlies. Chelsea braced for low ball Gallagher offers. Club storms out of interview. Newcastle to consider selling Guimaraes. And of course, that and many more headlines in the Sporting Life newspaper this morning. Kemi.
All right. So there you have it. The major papers reporting various issues. Of course, the violence, the abductions, the latest abductions in Kaduna State, still the paramount story there. Of course, there's also politics, there's also the strike, there is, the coming elections in Edo State, your home state, by the way, and I see you're also actively following the news there. APC, making more and more efforts to reconcile and have one house. Truly. As they forge for these, crucial elections that will see a successor for Governor Godwin Obaseki.
Yeah, both parties have settled for candidates of their choice, PDP and Labour and APC. But the bone of contention is the Labour Party, who has about 2 or 3 candidates for the elections. I'm sure they're also making some peace moves to ensure that they unite as one going forward, because it's quite important for everybody to go in as one to talk to the people on the need for them to vote each political party in so as to be able to govern the state effectively. But it's quite, it's a great news that the APC has come together to mend its fences and mend its house to ensure that it has a united front going forward at the elections. Especially with
the involvement now, because there were some slants in the headlines regarding the involvement of former governor and now Senator Adams Oshiomhole as his apparent candidate now is now
deputy governorship candidate.
He's now going to be working, full on now with the party.
The good thing is that both candidates, both the governorship candidate and the deputy governorship candidate, are both grassroots individuals. They understand the terrain. They've been involved in campaigns over the years, and so they know just what to do to get into power and to clinch the trust of the people. So we hope to see a very interesting campaign period.
Just like always.
Just like always.
Edo State has always
very
been
important.
A very contentious state.
Very. It has always been very contentious.
It could flip. APC has had its own share of governance. The PDP, incidentally, the
governor moved from the APC,
the exiting governor was from the APC, and then moved on. Of course, we are also not ignoring the drama involving the governor and his deputy, who is also, going to be one of the key, from what we are seeing now, one of the key contestants contenders for the seat of governor. Also, the issue of constitutional amendment once again in the front burner.
Yes.
Eminent Nigerians are speaking under the auspices of the Patriots in honor. They gathered in Lagos in honor of the late eminent professor of law, Ben Nwabueze, and they, basically they're talking about the need for a new constitution, not the tinkering that we have seen, the episodes of tinkering.
And all of that.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
not the amendments here and there, but what they call the people's constitution.
So it means going all around to get views of the people,
right,
to town halls and all of that to get a full constitution that befits the mindsets of the people.
Yeah, Theophilus, you've been around long enough, to know just what it means when, the country talks about, its readiness for a new constitution. It's not just something that the National Assembly can do alone, as you rightly said. The houses of assembly will also be involved, and, depending on... First, we even need to agree.
We need to agree. So there will be town halls of different local governments, LCDs, and all. There will be town halls of different areas, public hearings to get the gauge the views of the people. Then those will be put in a document that will now move to the State House of Assembly before it can be ratified and move over to the higher, will I call it the higher chambers?
The chambers, that is the joint chamber of the National Assembly. So this appears not to be rested, this issue of the People's Constitution that will indeed reflect the will of the people, which will also be enforced to the letter, is also yet another news that we expect will trigger more conversations, more insights during the course of the day. Of course, the issue of insecurity is also here. The government is speaking, the opposition is speaking. Peter Obi also in the news, talking about his thoughts on the state of insecurity in the country, and of course the faces and names of the soldiers, the fallen heroes, as rightly pointed out by several newspapers, are also splashed for people to see just how these men and these individuals whose lives were cut short, their names and faces and pictures were released by the Defense Headquarters. Indeed, a very, very sad period for the Nigerian military at this time.
Truly a sad period for the Nigerian military, of course.
And indeed the nation.
The nation as well. Also, we're looking at, you talked about elections earlier, Ondo State too.
Ondo State is not left out.
It's not left out.
Right, it's also
basically
a key year.
It's a key year for at least before the end of the year, both states should have concluded elections, and by early next year, we should have new governors for the states.
And of course, there are also fireworks, to be expected. The APC too is also, striving to maintain its sanity, to keep its head above the water. It has a very, very crucial stake in the scheme of affairs in the state, having held sway over, the past, over several years now. And with, Governor Lucky also throwing his hat into the ring, so to speak, that has also sparked, diverse reactions from within his own party ahead of the primary election.
Well, like you have said earlier, we need to just go all out and have a united front going to the elections. Like they say, when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. So Nigerians do not have to suffer the result of the outcome of the party primaries. Let's just go into the elections without rancor and go as a united front, not just the APC, not just the PDP, but every political party we can think of that's contesting, that's having candidates at different elections.
It's also crucial, while these major actors, of course, it's a busy period for politicians. You can say this is a period that they've been living up to even before now, they have been preparing for this moment. And so while politicians are doing their thing, the people, the will of the people must also
prevail yeah.
at this time. People also need to, be encouraged, to show more than, the docile interest, so to speak, to things of this matter, because
everybody needs to be actively
everyone
involved.
needs to be involved.
Yes.
INEC is also expected to be on top of its game. These are off-season elections, after all, and so everybody, every stakeholder, the security agencies, the media, and every other, block, every other body need to ensure that they work optimally for a smooth flow of elections, for credible, free and fair elections. Yes.